Boom. What is going on, guys? Sean Boyle here with Momentum 360. In this video, I am going to be showing you how to build your sales team with ChatGPT. Let's get started.
All right, guys. So like the title suggests, in this video, I'm going to be showing you how to construct and scale a sales team all from ChatGPT. As I'm sure you guys are aware, what we're going to be doing is really building systems in place so your sales team can grow from 1 to 2 to 3 people and 10x that, so you can get 20 and 30 people very efficiently. So you're not wasting your resources, your hard-earned money, your time, and your energy. Okay, you're making it very efficient for that process. So let's get started. So the first thing I want to talk about, guys, is you need to define your objective on the team you're trying to construct, right? So for Momentum 360, we have a fully remote sales team. The reason that is, we have so much exposure across the United States. We're HQ'd in Philadelphia, of course, but we work in LA, Boston, Chicago, Miami, all these big cities, and even cities across the world, international, right? So for us, we want to have a remote team that can hit all these areas in the specific area that they live in, because in my opinion, it's going to go so much farther in terms of just sheer efficiency and just honestly bringing in more revenue and sales if the person who's doing the sales in a specific area lives in that area. So let me give you guys pretty much a rundown. So I have a couple people who are in Seattle and they sell in Seattle. They know the area, they know the weather there, they know the culture, they know all these different things, restaurants, bar scene, sports scene, so they can connect with people a little better. And I think having that is so important, because if they don't have that, let's just say they're selling in Seattle, but they live in LA, they know the LA scene. They don't know the Seattle scene. It's a little bit different. So being someone who lives there is very, very important. But for you guys, you need to figure out, do you want to build someone that's in person, a sales team that's in person, or do you want to build a team that is really based all across the US, or maybe even internationally if you're using VAs? So you got to think, is it going to be an in-person or remote team, or is it going to be a US based or VA team? On top of that, you also want to be cognizant of if you want to build a sales intern team or a sales associate team. So a sales intern team to me is zero base, all commission. A sales associate team is probably for a company that's a little bit more developed, has a little bit more revenue, has a little bit more money to pay for higher quality people. Thus, they don't need as much training as the sales interns do, but they get a certain base plus commission. Whereas the sales interns, you have zero base, all commission, and you need to spend a little bit more time with them, grooming them, training them, etc. Right? So these are just things to think about. For me, for Momentum 360, we have a sales intern team because we are still a smaller company and we want to continue to grow in the proper way. And also for me, I want to learn how to honestly grow the team from scratch and how to scale it. So for me, being able to train these sales interns every single day, I like it. I love it, actually. But it's really helpful for me because now I know exactly what to do. I feel like if I had a lot of money to spend on these sales associates, let's call it, I don't think I would learn as much because it's just paying them and I wouldn't know the process as much, if that makes sense. So what I'm going to do is really just tell ChatGPT, write me a strategy to building a fully remote sales intern team that has no base salary, only commission, and that and has them living in the United States. Let's see what ChatGPT comes up with. As you guys can see, it's going to quite literally put down all of these things right here, defining your target market. It's just going to give you a very comprehensive plan. Okay, so this is the first step, is really defining your objective and building the team that you want to build at the end of the day. Okay, the second thing I want to talk about is building your process. Okay, so there's so many different things in terms of a team of how do you hire, how do you interview properly, how do you onboard, and how do you train? Okay, So for Momentum 360, I'll just read, some questions that I have. So how to interview properly. A lot of people don't even know how to do this. So and these are questions that, again, people just don't think of, but you need to be able to think of this to actually get the answer that you want. So how to interview properly for sales interns. And it's going to quite literally spit out what exactly to do. The next question I have is, do I give them homework to test their sales skill? Which I do. I like to give my intern applicants a mock pitch, a mock trial, where they create a script and I pretend like I'm that client and they go and pitch me as if I'm that prospect, all right? So let's see what ChatGPT says. Do I give them homework to test their sales skill? Resoundingly, I would say yes, you need to test them in some sort of capacity because this is what they're actually going to be doing on the job. So you want to make sure that they can handle objections to some degree. They have good tonality. They can be clever and think on the fly. And it seems like ChatGPT is going to agree with me here. The next thing I'll talk about is, which we really discussed up here, is you got to go back to the basics with hiring. Resume, references, etc. Making sure that you have the basic documents of a person to understand, hey, do they have any criminal record? Do they have good references? Do they have experience in the position that you're going to hire them in as a salesperson? What experience in sales do they have? Are they over the phone sales? Is it retail sales in person? Is it door to door? All these things are very important to understand because if you don't understand this, then you're not going to have a good, solid candidate. It's as simple as that. It's as if I was on the street and I just pulled some guy randomly and said, hey, you're working for me now. I don't know who he is. I don't know what experience they have. Could be good, could be bad, but it's probably not going to be the best, right? Because I just picked someone randomly without even knowing the person. I didn't even do any research, right? So that's a lot of food for thought. The next thing is, once you understand how to interview properly, right, you need to also understand how to hire properly. Okay, so for us, for Momentum 360, there's really 4 documents that you will get when you get presented a job offer with us. Okay, so the first one, very simple, is a W-9. Every single person in our company, except the partners, is a W-9 1099 employee. So we'll send you a W-9 form. You will fill that out. At the end of the year, you will then get a 1099, pretty much saying, hey, here's how much money you made, et cetera, as a contractor with Momentum 360. Pretty straightforward, right? The next thing is we'll send you an NDA, a non-disclosure agreement, making sure that if you're a salesperson with us, you're not going to take all of these secrets and then build your own company. You're not going to take these secrets and tell your friends or your family. You're not going to tell anybody. You're just going to keep these very high level, very professional, and you're not going to do anything malicious with the information, okay? The third thing we do is we have a contractor agreement in place. The duties, the compensation, when they're getting paid, what their day-to-day is, their terms and conditions with us, etc. Just so they have a clear understanding of what their day-to-day is on a given basis, okay? And the fourth thing, which I think is very important and not a lot of people do anymore, is a company handbook of, hey, here's how we operate, here's our terms, here's our conditions, kind of like what we illustrated in the contractor agreement, but it's a little bit more in depth. It kind of goes into the culture, it goes into the philosophy, and I think it's very important as a sales team to have culture. You know, Andy Elliott all the time talks about, if you don't have culture, you don't have a good understanding of where you're going, because there isn't, non-negotiables, there isn't a personality of the team. So you need to have a personality of the team and a good culture fit to scale that team. For us, it's competitive greatness, being a great man or woman of character. So for instance, if, let's just say I am away and this person, for whatever reason, is with my girlfriend, are they going to try anything with my girl? Being a good person of character. And then competitive greatness, wanting the best out of yourself each and every day. Those are the 2 things we really look for from a culture perspective for salespeople, and just anybody, honestly, for Momentum 360. All right. So let me tap into ChatGPT. What are the documents needed to hire someone as a salesperson in my company? And maybe I don't have the documents that they put together. I'm sure there's going to be some that are left out, but yeah, the job offer letter that goes in the contractor agreement. Yep. Employee agreement. This would be the W-9 in this case. Yep. Sales commission agreement. All this stuff. Here you go. Employee handbook. NDA. So we're hitting a lot, right? We're hitting a lot of these things. Direct deposit. We have that too. So yeah. All of these documents we just talked about, there's not as many, but a lot of them we condense into the same document. Okay. The next thing I want to talk about is how to onboard properly. So you have someone who's now a official salesperson for you, right? You want to have them be remote. You want to have them be, using our example, in the US, and you want to have them be an intern. So there's no base, but there's commission, and you're going to need to train them properly. So this is probably the most important thing, except other than hiring. You need to set proper expectations for some people, for everyone, honestly, in the company, to make sure they're understanding what they're getting themselves into, okay? So I'll kind of just run through what we like to do to properly onboard our salespeople. Number one is we give them a full rundown of these services and what they actually do, so the salesperson can understand what they're selling, obviously. The next thing is pricing. This is an average price for this. We have contractors based pretty much all over the country. This is the price for a specific contractor for these services in this area on average, okay? Expectations is the next one, and I think this is the most important one. Really saying to yourself, hey, from a sales perspective, do you understand how to give proper expectations to the client where assets are due at a certain time rather than saying, oh, they're going to be due the next day, which is very unlikely, pissing off the client? Do you know how to show up to a meeting on time and not make the client wait 5 minutes? All these things are very, very important. And if you can set proper expectations up front of what the client is getting themselves into, it's going to make your lives a lot easier as the manager to understand, okay, this is how Sean does it. This is how my manager does it, sales director, whatever. So just more food for thought there. We go over scripts, software, tonality, just all the things that technically are going to be superior than the next sales company. And this is really important. Every single day and week, we have a live one-on-one training. So I take a sales intern, I pull them in, we do a couple, quick fire side chats where I'll essentially hit them with a couple objections. They'll get back to me what they think, and we'll just do a mock pitch. Like if we're on the phone or if we're talking via DM, it's really that simple, okay? And then every single week, we have a live team training where we have everybody now, and we just pick and choose. I say, hey, you and you go, you and you, you and you. And we just listen to each other and we just get better. I think having that culture is very important to develop competitive greatness, because people, maybe they might not do a good job on the live team training. They might excel in the one-on-one, but maybe they flop on the team training, and they need to build up their confidence a little bit to speak in front of the team. Maybe with the team, they crush it, but the one-on-one, if they're talking to me, their boss, maybe they get a little nervous because I'm their boss, something like that, right? So you want to make sure that you have two sides of the spectrum. The one-on-one, which is very important, it's very intimate, and the team training, which is, again, very, very important for reasons I just talked about. So going to ChatGPT, write me a proper onboarding process for a sales intern. Let's see what it spits out. Pre-arrival preparations, welcome, obviously, company policies and procedures, product and industry knowledge. We talked about that. As you can see, I'm kind of, overlaying what our process is and checking ChatGPT to make sure it's legit. Mentoring and shadowing, what's the one-on-one, goal setting and performance expectations. We talked about that. Support, progress reviews, continuing development. We talked about this as well. So yeah, pretty much, this is a little bit more in depth, but we pretty much went over all of this as well. The next step, guys, is once you have a salesperson, a sales team properly onboarded and they're in the day-to-day, how do you manage them effectively? Because you don't want to take, all this time out of your day to waste and, the person's not learning, and then I'm being harsh on them and they're not learning because I'm being hard on them. And it's too much. It's way too much. So how do you do this effectively? What I like to do is every single day when we have those one-on-ones, I also like to have a weekly meeting, about 10 minutes with the entire team, that goes into, hey, do we need to address anything? Is everyone ready to go for the day? Let's crush it. Let's have, a great day, etc. Daily motivation, belief training. And I like to make it fun too. I think the more you can make a sales team fun and energetic and just have a good culture about it, the more they're going to want to work here and the more they're going to do better. So I think having that culture is very, very important for a multitude of reasons. The next thing I want to talk about to manage people effectively is really having weekly meetings end of the week to go over sales, their outreach sheets, etc. So talking about big wins, big losses, unfortunately, if that does happen, tonality and objection handling, and just a game plan for next week. I think for us, we do a really good job on Fridays of having that team meeting, keeping it very educational, very motivational, and also, in all honesty, technical, so they can learn what they're doing wrong, what they're doing right, and just get a better understanding of how we can take what we're doing now and 10x it. All right. So let's see what ChatGPT says, how to manage a sales team effectively. And again, these are questions, guys, that some people just don't ask, and they don't even know that ChatGPT can spit this kind of stuff out because their mind is like very broad and big picture, but having these nitty-gritty questions are very important because you stack up all these nitty-gritty questions and then you have a great overall process. Okay. So set proper goals and expectations. Ongoing training and development. We talked about this. Foster a team culture. Very important. Very, very important. And guys, by no means is our system perfect. It's far from it, but we are growing and we are learning every single day. So having an honest understanding of where you are in the process is imperative. Like if you suck at hiring, get better at hiring. Have ChatGPT help you with this. If you suck at onboarding, have it help you with onboarding. If you suck at managing and developing that culture, here you go. We live in such a world of abundance with information. There's no excuse to not be good or not improve in something on a daily basis. People say all the time, oh, well, I need to pay this guy a lot of money for a mentorship. You have a lot of information. You have Google, you have YouTube, you have ChatGPT now, which arguably is the most important. I myself am more of a visual person, so I like to go on YouTube as well as ChatGPT, but whatever works best for you guys. What else do we have? Empower decision-making, provide resources and tools, foster customer-centered approach, feedback. So yeah, pretty much what we already talked about. And the last thing I want to talk about, guys, which arguably is going to be the most important, is how to scale. So let's just say, back to the original part of the video, you have a sales team that's about 2 to 3 people and you're looking to get to 10 to 20. You're looking at 10x that, right? How do you scale? Because at the end of the day, sales teams are it's just like doing sales yourself. It's a numbers game. So people are going to drop off, they're going to leave. How do you keep the people to not leave and to understand this is what we're doing, this is what we're trying to build, get them to invest in you and get them to ultimately want to encourage maybe their friends or other people in their sphere of influence to help join the team, okay? What I like to say is you can't manage everything yourself. You need outside people to help you. So what I like to do is I like to go to people that I don't have as much knowledge of, take them out to lunch. Let's just say, for instance, I'm using an example here. My friend John Smith, he's a sales manager. He manages a team of 100 people. I want to take him out to lunch and I want to say, hey, John, how do I manage and scale my sales team? How do I do it? And he's going to tell me exactly how to do it. I took him out to lunch. We have a good relationship already. We're friends. He's going to tell me how to do that. So now I can rely on him and his experience rather than trying to figure it out for myself and wasting time, money, and energy. So you're leveraging other people's time. OPT, other people's time, is a very important endeavor. You've probably heard of OPM, with other people's money in real estate and investing. OPT, I would argue, is actually a more both are pretty solid. You can't beat that. But OPT, time is just such a finite resource. Money is unlimited. You can make as much money as you want. We all give it back at the end of the day when our time is expired. But time is that finite resource. Money is unlimited. You can have as much money as you want. time, on the other hand, is very limited. All right, so that's why I like to say time is a little bit more important. OPT is a little bit more valuable than OPM, but they're both really solid. All right. So on top of having almost a mentor figure, you also want to potentially have someone who can help manage these people as well. So what I like to do is, if you have someone in the sales team who's crushing it, talk to them, say, hey, what makes you such a good candidate with us? How can I help develop you into a continuous leader so you could potentially manage this team yourself? So they, without even having the title, are already intrinsically thinking, hey, I'm going to be promoted. I want to help grow this team. I need to be more in the day-to-day to understand what's working, what's not. What are some things that Sean isn't seeing on a day-to-day basis that's very, very important for the growth of our sales team, okay? So I like to say, if you have the money as a company to hire a manager, but if you don't, like in our case, I like to pick someone out of the group who I think has very, very solid potential, right? And say what I just told you guys, hey, I think you're doing a great job. I think you can grow with us. I think I want to potentially talk other opportunities in the company, but I want you to step up and I want you to tell me, how can we have a better process? Because as me, I'm doing a bunch of other things within the company. I'm not just doing Momentum 360 sales, right? I'm not just doing Momentum 360 team building with the sales team. So I need to know, where are we lacking? And I think having an unbiased perspective within this one person is a great way of doing that, okay? So let's see what ChatGPT says. How to scale a sales intern team from 2 to 20 people. Let's just use that as an example, right? So as you can see here, assess the workload, refine your internship program. A lot of people think small, you need to think a little bigger, define the roles, and developing an effective recruitment strategy too, which I didn't necessarily talk about that, but that's very important too. I like Indeed, I like LinkedIn to find sales interns. It's free posting, you don't need to spend money on this. Streamline the interview process, we already talked about that. And then here you go, increase mentorship and supervision. So go to potential, mentors and sales professionals. Yeah, so I think pretty much what I just talked about, ChatGPT is reconfirming that. Enhanced training and development, communication, all this kind of stuff. So guys, with that being said, this is really how I used ChatGPT to help grow my sales intern team from 1 to 2 people to now where we have, I want to say, 10 to 15 people on our team right now, and it's growing. So for us, we want to only continue to grow and have the culture of competitive greatness and being a person of character, an elite person of characters. So for us, that's really what we're focused on this year, growing the sales team and having it be one of the best teams that I can ever make it. Something that I would love to be a part of if I was a sales intern back then. So guys, if you like this video, I know it was a little bit longer, but I went into a lot of good notes, I thought. Please comment below what you think, good, the bad, the ugly. I want to hear it. Don't keep it in your mind. I'd love to hear it on YouTube, and so don't hold back. I have thick skin. I can take it for better, for worse. Like this video if you haven't already, and smash that subscribe button. We're looking to hit 4,000 subs by the end of the month. I know it's the 29th, but we're almost there, so let's hit that mark. If you guys have any questions, comment below. You can always go to my website, momentumvirtualtours.com. Let me know if you guys have anything that I can help you with. We're a 7-figure, soon to be 8-figure content marketing company. We're always looking to grow. We're always looking to hire. So if you guys want to join a very energetic and passionate group of digital marketers and content marketers, hit your boy up. It's just Sean@needmomentum.com. We look forward to serving you. We look forward to providing value for you in the future. We're not going anywhere. We're going to be here for a long time. I thank you guys so much for watching this, and we will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.